What's happening, you all? It's us again, the CoWaCo, the company water cooler. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. We're not financial advisors. This is for education purpose only, but we about to get it in. All right, so first, we about to talk about group research. Chris, what you got to say, my man?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This is the company water cooler. I am Chris. That is Leroy. Our first point today about group research. This is actually going to bleed into the second point about finding your strength. So with group research, in terms of finances and in terms of discovering the market, in terms of financial terms, in terms of the entire financial industry, that's when you form a group. And I mean, in this instance, a group could be two, but typically groups being three or more. But what you do is divide up different parts of the market or divide up different sectors even, and one person is dedicated here, one person is dedicated there, right? Like you got, okay, he's over there doing that, he's over there doing that, she's over there researching doing that. The two of them are over there researching that because they're playing off of each other's strengths. So she's good at charts, she's good at math in general. They put those two together and they start working on that. So when you research as a group, what it does, it takes the burden off of one man or one woman to do all of the research. Now, you got to get a good group, right? So you need to have a good group of folks behind you. You don't need to have finicky, foo-foo type group members where it's like, hey, I'm gonna sometimes help you, sometimes not. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need that, right? So when you have that group dynamic and I'm researching this, you're researching that, he's researching that, she's researching that, we can play off of that because I don't have to know 100% about the charts. She doesn't either, but she knows a lot more than I do. So if anyone has a question for me about it, or if somebody comes to me and asks me about it, I can direct them towards her. She can do the same if somebody has a question about individual stocks, or if they have a question about these 10 companies that I've researched thoroughly and know a whole lot about. So that's that's the importance of that group dynamic, is that shared responsibility. Right, it's a cohesive network. It's a cooperation, right? So I trust that you are going to do your part. You trust that I am going to do my part, and we lean in on each other. So that way, when the money got to be divided, we all know what we're doing. You get your piece, I get my piece. And if you're greedy, obviously you're not working in a group, because you do have to split responsibility, which means you have to split reward. But it's like working on a farm. It's like having a farm. If you have 100 acres of land, 100 acres of farmland, and you let your cousin have his cows graze on your land, and you let your other cousin grow her fruits and vegetables on that side, and then you let your other cousin grow his tobacco and wheat on that side, you get a piece of all of that, but you don't get 100% of that. They get to use your land to grow their food. You get to have some of their food as a means of them growing on your land. So it's reciprocity, right? So if I'm letting you use part of my 100 acres to grow your strawberries, your blackberries, your blueberries, I don't even want any money from you because I already own the land. But I'll need some of that yield from those strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. See what I'm saying? So, and you're gonna want to do that anyway. I don't need 50%. I don't need 60%, right? We can come to an agreement in terms of percentage, but it's like, hey, whenever I want, I got access to strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries. You know what I mean? My cousin know me. She know I'm coming over there to get, those items. And I'm not going to take. Now, if she needs a certain amount, she's going to let me know beforehand. Hey, look, here is this is my plot right here. You gave me 20 acres to grow all of this stuff, right? I'm selling this much over here, so I just need to keep and retain this much. Okay, cool. If you need 90% of your yield, that leaves me 1 to 10% to go and get, right? But it's that communication piece. That's another part of the group thing that's beneficial. You can communicate your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to research and investing with others who either have similar ones or can teach you those strengths that they have. So if I'm an expert in these 10 companies and you have a question about it, you can come to me. If you're an expert in charts and I have a question about it, I can come to you, and we're playing off of each other, right? It's that reliance factor. So that's the importance of, that's the importance of the group aspect.
Now, think about this, you all. A group is a team. A team that you put together, work together, you operate like a business. So when you running a business, right, and you have a good team put together, what happens? These are the things that happen. You go further, you grow faster. It's like you can be able to expand on your information that you actually have, you know. And like Chris said earlier, you're not just depending on, like, you know, this one person have all this, you know, responsibility on themselves. But if we have a group that actually, again, as we always talk about quality, right? Having a quality team causes for you to be able to continue to grow. Same thing we always talk about businesses. And when a business is quality, they'll always sustain and they'll always be growing. So same concept whenever actually doing a team or putting a group together. You know, when you was talking about, you know, someone might have, you know, really good with charts, somebody be good with maybe like the financial stuff in a particular company. And we don't want to forget data too, you know, because all this that you're putting together is like data that y'all sharing with each other, and the data that you're using is allowing for you all to be able to make a good decision on investing. So
100%.
yeah. So the next one we stepping into is strength. Remember about that strength.
Yeah.
What's up, Chris? What you got to say?
That's the playing off of that first. So as an individual and as a group, how you find your strengths in terms of research, you find out what you're good at. And this is in life in general. You find out what you're good at. Not necessarily what you like the most or what appeals to you the most, but something that you can do, something that comes automatically to you. Like you can automate it and it's like, oh yeah, I can do this in my sleep, right? You hear that all the time. Oh yeah, you can do that in your sleep. That might not necessarily be your favorite thing or be the thing that you want to focus on. But if you're in a group setting, if you're in a group situation and you're the best in the group at charts because it just comes naturally to you, but you prefer doing research on individual companies and learning and knowing everything about them, you kind of got to take one for the team, right? Until you can get to a point to where either you can branch off and do your own thing and still assist the group, still help the group, still be a part of that team, or you could say, hey, look, I found my replacement. I'm going to now focus on whatever, you know. So what you're good at is how you find your strengths. And again, I mean, it happens a lot where you're good at something that you don't necessarily want to make your focus, right? Like you could be really good at a sport. You could be really good at any sport, but that might not be your favorite sport, right? Like I'm really good at it and I'm, you know, because I understand the technicals, I understand the fundamentals, but it's not my favorite one, right? You could be really good at cooking this set of dishes. Like I cook French food really, really well. It's not my favorite, but I cook it really, really well, right? So if some French restaurant, right, chez maison, or you get hired in the charcuterie, or whatever, they want you to come in like, oh, chez Christophe, right? They want you to cook at Christopher's restaurant, right? French is your best, like you do that better than anybody. But your favorite cuisine to make is South African. You might not be the best at it, and that's not what you're known for. But when you at home and you cooking and you're not thinking about the French restaurant that you work at, you in there perfecting your South African cuisine. So when your strength, how you find your strengths is, hey, this is what I'm good at. This is what I can do. This is what I can use as a platform to go to the next level or to step into something else, right? Rapping comes easy to a lot of young guys, okay? They can do it, they can get really popular, really famous, make a whole lot of money. But that's not what a lot of these guys want to do. A lot of these guys want to act. A lot of these guys want to write. A lot of these guys want to, produce and direct. But they use rapping as the avenue to get them into those places. So it's the same thing with finance, the same thing with any industry. Use what you're good at to build and sustain a lifestyle that you're comfortable with. So then you can take chances on those other things that you find interesting. And it's the same thing with investing, right? If you really, really, really want to learn options, like you want to get really good at options, but you're like, you might be at like a tier 2 and you want to get to a tier 7 or 8 and then eventually get to that tier 10, that top tier, but you're fantastic at single share individual stocks. Master that, do that, make that what supports your lifestyle, make that your foundation. And then when you get to a point where, okay, now I pay myself, I work for me, these single share stocks have built me an empire, then start learning your options game. Now, because you have the resources, now you can take your time, now you can learn the ins and outs, you can get these very intricate details you can find out. So use what you're good at, what you're naturally good at. Don't fight nature because you will lose. Use what you're naturally good at to then migrate yourself towards something that's going to be a challenge for you.
All right, you all. And now, also, that's why we actually have different tools that we can be able to actually use also to help out, whenever it comes to like researching stuff. And so, and the good thing with the teams that we actually put together, whatever, like I said, whatever you're lacking, one person is lacking, we have somebody on our team that's strong to be able to actually, come in to that point, bam, and hook it up, But each of us, whatever we have our strengths in, we'll be using tools to be able to actually, constantly pull in, basically to sharpen our strength also too. So let's say, like, if it's something that I like to actually, get into, but I'm actually better in something else, maybe the person is actually strong in that particular part of the team. He's strong at, like you're saying, like a chart. I can, since we on the same team, right? Hey, I can actually link up with that guy sometimes, or that female sometimes, and see what tools they may be using, to be able to actually build up their strength, and I can be able to actually, learn, from that, also too, and vice versa, so people on our team that we actually have, we are learning also from them too. So they even build up the strengths that we actually weaken, also too, if it's something that we actually like, so we can actually look 100%. At it like that too.
I like that point about the tools too, Leroy. It's when we use, because we're using those resources that we have. Like we're utilizing, so it's not that you know everything about charts, but you're keeping it to yourself. It's that, hey, you know charts the best, but I still know what platform you use or what trading you use. Like I still know the basics, right? So very important to know, you want to know a little bit about everything and not everything about a little, right? That's your focus should be the best. And I mean, hey, you could be really good at a small amount of things, and that's fine. That works for you. That's okay. You got 3 things that you're the best at, and you don't know anything about the other stuff. Or you could be level 1, level 2 with everything and not yet have mastered anything, right? So it's the whole master of none concept, right? Like we could go over here and I can go to this nuclear power plant and it may seem like I know a whole lot more about it, but I know the vocabulary, I know the jargon, I know the lingo, I know. And so when I step in, people go, wow, because I'm comfortable in knowing that I don't know. A wise man knows what he doesn't know, right? So if I'm not aware and I don't know much about this nuclear reactor, if I don't know much about this country, if I don't know much about this product or this thing, that doesn't stop me. It should not stop me from investigating, and it should not stop me from being around that product or that thing, right? So you take those tools and you say, hey, I don't know much about let's say you're a financial advisor at Chase, right? Senior financial advisor. I don't know much about FINRA. I know it's a Series 6, I know it's a Series 7, and I know that it's a 501, it's a 50 something, right? I know little things so that if you and I have a conversation, we can talk about it and you can go, oh yeah, here's what the Series 6 is, here's what the Series 7 is. And I go, oh, and what am I doing? I'm relating that to other things that I'm more comfortable with. So now we can have a conversation and we starting on the same foundation. We have the same base because let's go back to the food analogy. I'm going to reference that to food. I'm going to analogize that to food. Oh, okay, the Series 6 is like, if I'm using that to make that a little more spicy, the Series 7 is a lighter version. Okay, boom, 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 because everything is related. So you want to know a little bit about everything so you're comfortable in those situations where you're surrounded by that and you're not totally lost.
That's what's up. All right, you all. Guess what time is it? It's stock of the week time. Yeah, favorites. So,
favorites.
All right.
Yeah. What you got, Leroy? What you got? What you got?
My first one is Square. That's my first one. All right. You know, I'll always be mentioning Square all the time, but the reason why I'm mentioning Square again too is that I like how Square is able to actually give you data so you can be able to actually make a decision on where most of your traffic is coming from. You know, so you know like where your sales is coming from, what product you is actually selling the most, you know, and that helps a business owner be able to make a decision. Oh, okay, so most people like this particular product. So yeah, so I might need to kind of formulate something around this particular product, you know. So Square is my first one. My second one is Google. All right. So again, only reason why I'm saying Google is because they use data too. Look, they're using data to be able to, you know, help even their, you know, particular business owners, you know, figure out again where their business is coming from, you know. So, okay, so my business actually came from this particular ad. Oh, people click on this ad. Or, oh, okay, so it came from this particular, area within the web. Oh, okay. So I'm on data today. So we got Square, we got Google. All right. So my last one is going to be, and we usually always be mentioning this one right here, Apple. So look, these particular companies, right? They're really key on data. Trust me, they're really key on data. And they be using their data to be able to actually make their decision on what they're going to actually market to you and us. And that's how they stay ahead. So those are my three.
Yeah, no, that's to add to Leroy's point too. So you have geo tracking as well. So let's say you own an apparel company and you're selling. Let's say you're selling just through just your website. You can find out where in the world, if it's global, but it's probably just, let's just say it's just in the United States. You can find out in the United States where your product is selling the most. So this is most beneficial to entertainers because if I'm a stand-up comic and I just post material online, Instagram, YouTube, I'm just posting that material there, but let's say I'm getting 400,000 views per video. Or let's say I've got 600,000 subscribers, right? And it's increasing, and I'll get to 1 million before year's end. I want to do a comedy show, but I don't want to just do a comedy show random pop up down the street, right? That could be where I'm most popular, but I need to see where people are watching my content, where they're purchasing products most from me, right? 600,000 subscribers and an average of 400,000 views per video, you need to have some merchandise. So if I have merchandise to sell, okay, well, what's my logic? Hey, if Wichita, Kansas is where I'm most popular, let's say they buy the most merchandise from me. They buy the most shirts, the hats, everything. They buy everything. If they beat every other city, if they beat the next 4 cities, like let's say I'm gonna do a top 5. If Wichita, Kansas is number 1 and they beat every other city by 40%, what do you think my first comedy show is gonna be? Wichita, Kansas, right? Because that's where people are spending money on my products. I'm gonna go to Dallas next, of course, and I'm gonna go to Charlotte, number 3. Obviously, North Carolina, we got you, we stay with you. I'm gonna go to somewhere in Florida after that, because that's gonna be number 4, either Jacksonville or Miami or something, right? And then my 5th is probably gonna be a toss-up between Chicago and Phoenix, right? One of these Phoenix being the most recent, boom town, boom city. But it's gonna be somewhere that's a bit further away than the other 4 cities, right? So I still need that. I need that data. I need that information. If I'm number 1 in Wichita, Kansas, number 2, I'm going to Dallas. Number 3, I'm going to Charlotte. Number 4, I'm going to Miami. Number 5, I'm going to Phoenix, right? So I have that. And granted, obviously Texas and Arizona being, but y'all get the point. Where they're buying my stuff the most is where I'm going to go. But that comes from the collection of data. Everything. Data is king. Information is currency. If I know what you eat, what you drink, what kind of clothes you buy, if I know what restaurants you eat at the most, I can now, like Leroy said, I can market to you. Hey, Leroy, I know you like that sushi place up the street, right? Or you like that bistro up the street, the one with okay. So what is Leroy gonna start seeing? He's gonna start seeing bistro advertisements on his Google without even typing in bistro. He gonna see it on a little snippet. Okay, man. And they've been doing this this has always been in their plan. They've been doing this for a while. But it's buying and selling. I have to sell you something so that I can make money. So if I know what you like, that's what I'm going to market to you. Go try this exercise for the next week. Google something random, right? Don't even something totally random, right? People don't really wear watches like that anymore. Google different type of watches, okay? And it's gonna happen like that same day or the next day. But for the next week, just Google watches and then click on different websites that have, you know, oh, you can buy from this one. Click on different websites where you can actually go through, add to cart and buy that watch. Stop searching for watches for, hell, probably a week or two, and you'll start to see advertisements. You're gonna see advertisements in your email. You're gonna see advertisements on the side of your screen because it's all connected. They're using that data to say, hey, we gotta get you to buy something now, right? We gotta get you to buy something right now. If you put your birthday into, why do you think companies ask for your birthday? Because around your birthday, what they gonna do? Hey, here go 10% off. Here go 15% off. Happy birthday, right? Hey, you don't miss out on this birthday special. And it's not even just gonna be for that one day. They're gonna give you the birthday special for 2 months. And then after that, when you buy that product, it's gonna be like, man, okay, I got 15% off. That's great. It just took a little bit of taxes off. He didn't really get a crazy discount like that. It just took the taxes off. But what are they gonna do after that? Hey, you bought with us on your birthday. Here's another 10%. It's the holidays, so it's tracking, and you can't be mad at them for doing that because they got to stay in business. They got to make money for their shareholders. So that data point is very, very key that Leroy just said. On that Amazon, I got to throw Amazon in there because Amazon is the data tycoon. Like, you go on Amazon and you watch, okay, you go to Prime and you watch a certain, so let's say you watch all action movies for the next month. What you think they're going to suggest to you the next time you pop up your Amazon? Here goes another action movie. Yeah. We want you to have that. So eventually, and I know they already have this in the works, so this is not breaking news, but eventually what's going to happen is you can start having, and I've already seen some of this on Netflix. Eventually, what they're going to start doing is, or what they're working on is, if you've been watching all comedies, you can now sort of produce your own, and we don't have to do the legwork for you. Mm-hmm. So if you've been watching, if your whole Netflix is comedies, you're going to run through those comedies very quickly, right? I've heard a few people say, yeah, man, I don't watch everything on Netflix. I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, you could read a book, you could go make some money. It's a whole lot to do, right? But if you've watched all of the comedy genre on Netflix, Netflix has nothing left to give you, right? So that algorithm can say, okay, well, why don't we do an interactive thing where now we can take clips from different things that maybe they haven't seen before, or maybe he hasn't watched, or maybe she hasn't watched, and we can compile those to create a new comedy, right? Or what we can do is we can say, okay, you watched all the comedies on our platform. We've got several versions of the same film, still a comedy, but now we can start to integrate that, right? The actual thought process is a lot more detailed and makes a lot more sense than that. But Amazon, 100%. If all you buy this week on Amazon is laundry detergent, dish detergent, soap, all of that, that's gonna come up in your feed. Hey, you bought some Clorox wipes. Do you want some Lysol? No? Okay. Do you want some air freshener? Do you want some cat? Right? You'll see it in the product similar to. This is what we think you should buy because those who bought that bought this. That's marketing, right? If I bought some socks, I probably bought some t-shirts to go with it. Hey, you just bought the socks. Don't you want to be like everybody else and buy some t-shirts? Or don't you want to buy some drawers too? You need some. We all need drawers. You need some drawers, right? And so it's that suggestion because they want you to spend all of your money with them, as they should, because they should want the entire world in their hands. They want you to spend all of your money with them and get all of your products from them. Amazon #1, Apple #2 always, because that's gonna be, Apple is always my go-to. And Apple, with the 30% rate that you have to pay on their, to upload stuff to the app, they got the game. Like you can't beat them, right? You really can't beat them. And then I am going to go with Target. I'm going to go with a retailer because brick and mortar retailers also collect your data. They have to. Okay. When you go in your debit card that's basically your walking tracking device. Anything that you purchase on your debit card or your credit card is trackable. Anything. Okay. So when you go into the store and you buy that lemonade from Target, or you buy that juice from Target, if you buy that every week, Target will keep that in stock for you, right? Because that's flying off the shelf. What their numbers are showing is, hey, this lemonade is really, really popular. We're going to keep stocking this. And the item that's not so popular. So lemonade is very popular, but we're not really selling dog food like that. We're going to start giving that dog food space to the lemonade and start offering less dog food products. You see what I mean? And so if Target never sells dog food again, trust and believe that entire section of the store is going to be deleted, and they're going to move that's going to be extra space for their more popular products. So keep in mind that everything you purchase on that card, that's a tracking device. Everything you purchase on your debit and credit card is trackable. They see that, right? They start to predict that. Oh, okay. Every time he comes to Target, he spent $100. He typically spends about 30% on grocery, 40% on laundry, and the other 30% on miscellaneous items. Right? This is data. And they have to do this to stay in business. Yeah. Because if I just offer products, let's say you'll see it sometimes with these consignment shops, and you'll see it with the smaller mom and pops because they don't collect data as they should. You'll see dust and you'll see spider webs on some of the products. And you're like, hey man, why don't nobody eat these ginger snaps? Why do you still have these here in the store? These literally look like they've been here for 50 years. Why don't you take that off the shelf? Because they haven't done that collection. They haven't done that data to see that nobody buys those ginger snaps anymore. They buy the chocolate chip cookies, but you got the ginger snap. And so nobody's coming into your store to get chocolate chip cookies because all you have is this old ass shelf full of ginger snaps and nobody wants it, right? But that's because they're not collecting that data. Now, granted, a lot of them do it for more reasons. Oh, well, principally, I don't want to do that because I don't want to intrude and invade. I got you. But you want to stay in business too, right? Okay. And are you competing with Walmart and Target? With one store? No, you're not. You're not. Let's say you've got 10 stores though. Okay. You're still not competing with them because they have thousands of locations, but you want people in your community, you want people in your city, your town to come to you first, right? Hey man, Leroy always got that over there at that store, and it's always at a low price. It's always affordable. I'm gonna go over there. I will go to Target. I will go to but I'm gonna go over there because Leroy's collecting that data. Hey, this product is selling really, really well. We're gonna keep this stock. I've only sold 3 of these last month. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a little special place for it in the bag, and if somebody asks for it, then I give it to you. Hey, you can have it 50% off. And then when I get rid of that last one, I'm not gonna restock because I only sold 3 last month. I sold 700 of those. I only sold 3 of those. So those are the last 3 that I'm gonna buy, unless of course somebody come in and say, "Hey, look, can you bulk order this for me?" Okay, cool, got you. And because I'm already not paying a lot for that product, all right, you can get a little discount on it too. But my popular items, you got to pay for that. That's a premium. But my least popular items, not so much. So that data collection is important. So Amazon, Apple, Target.
All right, you all. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. The CoWaCo Company Water Cooler. We out.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
See y'all next week.